Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and a very good evening to everybody. As you know, I'm in Sydney right now, and we have a meet and greet function here in one of friend's home. And Nathan Hagarty, Mr. Nathan Hagarty, who is a member of parliament here in Australia, and he's from Labour Party. And he was also one of the guests here. So suddenly my studenthood rose, and I thought that I must learn because politics is one of a most talked topic in our country. So I thought it's a good opportunity to having a politician from a developed nation, and I thought I should learn from him. My questions may be very silly slash stupid slash basic, so
No,
please don't mind that.
no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah, all right, okay. So actually, I want to understand that how your political system works, starting from the bottom to the top, and what are the good things in your system which has resulted in that good governance for which Australia is known for.
Okay.
So if you allow me, I can just put
Yep.
mic here,
Very good.
please.
So we have a three-tier system of government. So
Yes.
at the bottom is local government or council,
Yes.
and they look after things such as picking up the rubbish, local roads, parks, libraries, community centres. So very sort of low-level politics. Normally, you elect a mayor and some councillors, so about 10 or 12, and depending on the size of the area, could be anywhere from 50,000 voters to 200,000 voters. So very local. We're currently in the Liverpool City Council area. I used to be a councillor. I was a councillor for 2 terms.
Yes.
And it's what they say is it's the grassroots. It's the closest form of government to the people, and it really is. Then you go up from there, and you have state, which is sort of province or sort of one up.
Like New South Wales or Victoria
Correct.
or
Yep.
Queensland, like that.
I'm currently a state member. There are and that works a little bit different. So you've got two houses, so they call a bicameral system. I'm in the Legislative Assembly, so every member of the Legislative Assembly represents a specific geographic region, and then you have the other section called the Legislative Council, which is like the Senate. So it's probably the easiest way. Now, state government looks after things like police, hospitals, fire engines, schools, hospitals. I think I said that already. Major roads, tollways, public transport. So that's sort of that. And then the top level is obviously federal, Australia, and then very similar system to state. So bicameral, you have an upper house and a lower house, and they look after things like foreign affairs, taxation, the economy, and then there is some sort of crossover there with things like health, education, university. So defense,
Yes.
yeah, foreign affairs.
Yes.
So that's sort of the
And
5 minute
and
version.
how but how funds comes? I mean, from where the local tier gets the money?
So local tier gets most of its money from rates. So if you own property, you pay a levy every quarter,
Okay.
and that covers it. So that's the major way that they raise revenue, and then with state and federal, it's through various taxes.
They also give that. They also give some support to the local.
Yes.
Local budget.
Yep. So there's grants that are given. We have an interesting thing in our federal constitution, which is local government isn't recognised in the constitution. So even though every state has local government, it's not recognised in the constitution. So I think 3 times we've had a referendum to change the constitution, and it's failed to recognise local government. And what it means is very technical here, but essentially federal governments can't give money to local governments. They have to sort of do it through the state government. Just a little quirk of our system.
Yes.
But essentially, yes, there's grants that come from federal and state government.
Right. And I mentioned about the silly question, and that the first one is that is an MP or a member of a parliament, does he gets a pay just like any other employee?
Yes.
Or he gets funds? Because I want to just, in my subconscious, I want to compare the system which back home.
Yes.
So it's just a job for you.
Uh,
Is it?
it's my full time job,
Mhm.
but I'm here on a Saturday night. So it for me, and because I'm so passionate about what I do and my community,
Yes.
it's more than just a job. It's it engulfs my whole life. My wife is also involved. My children are members of the youth wing of the party. So a lot of today we went out to Chinatown to celebrate New Year. My wife came with me.
Mhm.
So it involves a lot of what we do and where we like it's every bit of your life is politics. So it's more than a job.
So if someone, one of these kids who are sitting here,
Mhm.
if they want to take politics as a career, so what is the pathway for doing it?
There are different.
I'll not tell you the pathway,
Yes.
which we have in Pakistan, but you tell us the
Okay.
pathway if
So
someone wants to be a politician, for
the
example.
usual pathway in Australia, which comes under some criticism, and I think it's appropriate criticism, is that when you're in high school or university, you will join student politics. You get involved in student politics, and then when you graduate, you might work for a member of parliament, or you might work for in my party, you might work for a union.
Hmm.
And then from there you do that for a while, you get elected to council and you get elected to politics, so I get elected to state or federal parliament.
Hmm.
um, I think there's a place for that, but I think there are too many people in politics that take that path of, I guess, what is essentially a professional politician. I think we
Yes.
need people from all different walks of life, some that have worked in factories, some that have been academics, some that have gone through that that professional political pathway. So I think you need a mix of
So
everybody.
anybody who is an Australian citizen can be a politician.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So he can just join a party,
Yeah.
and can, if he is capable enough that he is given a seat for that election,
Yep.
then he can compete for that.
Correct.
But
Yep.
only one thing in federal, isn't it?
Yeah. Can I use your mic? Yeah, please.
Only in federal, you have to surrender your nationality. If you're from other country,
All right.
you won't be a two national.
All right.
You have to give away your Pakistani, Indian, or whatever country you are. You have to give that nationality totally. You have to be Australian.
Yes.
Otherwise, you won't
A few
elect it.
people have gotten in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
two
Right.
people
So this
already
is how
in
this is
trouble.
how.
That's a better clear that.
One point I'll make about if young people want to get involved in politics, and I tell this to young people all the time. The only being a politician is not the only path in politics.
Mhm.
And for and take me for instance as a politician. I'm I don't have any anonymity. If I go to the shop, someone will say hello to me. On my drive here, a young boy waved at me, and I pulled over. I know his dad, and we had a chat. So there's that. I get criticized in the media. I get called things on social media. It takes a lot of hours. It's very stressful, and people might argue otherwise, but perhaps the pay is not equal to the amount of effort that goes into it. So that's one path. Politician, you can work for a politician and you can develop policy, or you
Mhm.
could do media, and you can make as good a contribution through politics. Yet you get to be anonymous and you get to go home at night, and you don't people don't put your name in the newspaper or call you things on social media. So don't think politician is the only path. And the other thing as well, you've got to be a good people person. You've got to be able to talk to people. You're good on your feet. So maybe policy, maybe media, maybe just working in a politician's office is the path, and you can still make an immense difference. So
Right.
there's a woman that works for me, and she's worked for me since I got elected. But I used to work with her in another politician's office. She comes in every day and she just sits at the desk and she works with local constituents. She's had an immense impact on hundreds, if not thousands, of people's lives because working through me and working for me, she's been able to get people housing. She's been able to get people's visas. She's been able to, every day. She solves all these issues on behalf of me. So she's made an immense impact on many, many people's lives. Yet she's just an anonymous lady who works in my office. So
Very nice. So I don't know about others, but
Mhm.
I'm hungry. So this is why I will not prolong this talk.
yes,
But if one of those kids was sitting there, if he asks for it on his behalf or her behalf, I would would like to ask from you. I'm a surgeon, so my job is to cut the body and do the operation or doing laparoscopically.
Mhm.
There's a friend of mine. He's a plumber. He fixes the pipes. If you're a politician, what is your job?
To serve the community.
All right. Okay.
to serve the community and hopefully leave it in a better place than when I was elected.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. And
Inshallah.
inshallah. Thank you. And since politicians have got an international perspective, would you like to say something about Pakistan?
I'll say hello.
Yeah. This is this is
Assalamu
very.
alaikum. Yes.
Also, this is very political.
Yes. Look,
So I want to just have your opinion, honest opinion, that about the political situation in Pakistan, because I know that every politician is a student of the international politics. So we are all concerned about it, and I want to take your take about it.
Yep. Look, that's a really tricky question for a politician. What I will say is, I think there's a tendency in world politics to, I guess, impose what is really a Western view of how governments and democracy should work. And I think each country needs to work through what works for them in terms of their culture and their history, but also ensure that it adheres to international norms and international laws. So you can't just take Australia's system and plan it anywhere in the world and expect it to work. It's unique to Australia, and it works for the reasons it does, because of unique history and culture and geography, and it's up to, I think, Pakistan to work through those things that are unique to it, and to have a government that serves the people for the right reasons, and does fulfills the potential that Pakistan has. It has immense potential, and it needs to work through that and do that in a way that adheres to international law and international norms.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I am a very strong believer that every person have got his aura. About just is not about the physical being, but everyone has got vibes as well. So when I met, when I started, I took his surname, but now I feel so familiar with him that I'll call him Nathan. So he's a person who had got very positive vibes.
Thank
So
you.
this is why I took an opportunity, and I thought that I'll just talk to Nathan. So it was wonderful talking to you, and we will keep on having our talking off the camera
Yes.
while we will be enjoying the hospitality of our sister Rakshanda.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and a pleasure to have you here in Australia. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are two sense of mind.